Welcome, 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 my lovelies. Welcome back. Hurrah! Another video. Yes, it's windy outside today, but very sunny and a slight chill in the air. Hence, the old man's got his fleece on today. Although I could do without it. Just I'm on the cusp, as John Boy would say. Cheers, everybody. Oh, a lovely fresh warm cup of tea made by the John Boy, of course. So today's video is the beginning, or it's part one of a new commission that I've been given to do. Yay! Next one on the list. So what we're going to do is probably dive straight in, and I'm going to show you what I am starting with and what I've got to work on. I've got lots of ideas, so there'll be lots of things going on at some point, and the video will be in parts because I'll just do enough so I can just do enough to get for you guys so you can see, instead of doing the whole house, because it will take weeks before I can put the video on. So we'll do it in parts so you can see everything as it builds and what I do to it. So without further ado, as they say, as you can see now, obviously I've moved Art Deco house next to the castle, the Gothic castle that will be at some point, because I'm now using my work table. So let's go right over there. Well, right over there, about 3 feet away, and I'll show you what we've got to work with. So here it is. So it's an Italian villa. It's an Italian hillside villa. So it's it will be on or supposedly on a hill. So it's not huge, but it's a nice fair size. So I wanted you to see the shape of it to start with, before I start with the design of it. I'm going to start with the outside of the building, because I've got something special I want to do on it. But as you can see, there's a hinge down this side. It's not fixed to the house, so I can actually just take it away. But this would open up, and this door opens up, and I'll show you the rooms. It does actually have a basement to stand on as well, so eventually there will be 1, 2, 3, 4 floors plus the roof. So we've got ideas for it, things I'm going to do, things I'm going to change, and lots of things I'm going to add. So I'll tell you not the full story of inside at the moment, but I will tell you that it's a married couple that own the Italian hillside villa, and they're renovating and doing it up themselves to live in, but they are going to have a business from it, run a business from it as well. So that will all come in other videos still to come. But first of all, what we're going to do is concentrate on the outside of the building. Right, okay, so as you'll see, I have, I've removed the door, well, both the doors have gone, and the roof, I've ripped the top of the roof off where the apex was on each side. I've cut that off flat, so we now have no roof angles of anything, so it's just flat now, which obviously is all part of the plan. Also, one of the sides, I can't remember which side, it doesn't really matter, one of the sides was loose, all the joins were loose, and the other side was fixed solid, where it had been made in the beginning. So the side that was loose, I ripped that off, and at the same time I could cut the top off the roof to get a nice straight edge there, and then I've re-glued it. I think it's actually this side. I've re-glued it, and then I've done rows of nails along the joins there, on top of being glued as well. That's where where there's a floor, so I've done nails along there, and same down here, and then on the ground floor as well. So I've just put little panel pins in and glued those in. And just when you're doing that, I had the house on its side, so this was sort of on the top, looking down on it, and then to get the straight line and make sure the pins are in the floor and not coming out the sides of it, I just measured, just got a metal ruler, and measured from there to the center of that line there, and then just kept the same measurement all along, because the house is actually square. So each panel pin that I put in, it hasn't come through. You don't actually see it anywhere. Okay, so that's the shell of the house and the roof bit cut off, because that's what we wanted. So next I'm going to, if I grab some of this, I've got some foam board here. I think it's 3mm foam board, 3mm wide. I've got a thicker foam board as well, but I just want this thinner one to start with. And I'm going to clad the outside of the house completely. So I'll just cut it, like jigsaw it together, and just glue panels on. I'll glue one side and probably turn the house over, so the weight of it will be sitting on the bench nice and flat, and I'll let that dry properly. Then I'll turn it over and do the other side, and I'll also do the front of the house where all the windows are as well. So I'll just get some of that stuck on, and let's get into this. I'm really excited about this one. Well, I'm excited about every time I do somebody's house or anything at all. Right, I've just actually yesterday afternoon I started sticking this on the foam board. I've started on the front of the house as well. That's over on the workbench. But I'm just to show you that I've stuck a whole sheet on there. The sheets are this size, so you just do as big an area as you can, and that's absolutely solidly stuck on, as it's been left overnight. So I just glued it on, turned the house upside down, or on the other side, and left it overnight. So the weight of the house has made this stay in place. And then, as I said, I just jigsaw the bits together. So I'm covering it as easily or as quickly as I can without doing too many small pieces. It won't matter where the joins are, we'll sort that out when we come to it, but that's the whole length of one of the boards turned on its side, and the bit that I cut off goes on here. Just mathematically, that's how it would work out, so that fits perfectly. So I didn't have to trim any pieces at all. So that's one board, and then these two bits are another one of these boards, just cut in a different angle. So I'll now glue those on and carefully, and turn the house upside down again, and I'll leave that a while to dry while I get on with the front of the house. Now, okay, so the front flat part of the house down there is underneath this piece of wood at the moment, and I've got bits of foam board glued to the other side, and I've just weighted it down with a box, so I'll leave that to dry off completely, and then I can trim off any edges that are sticking out everywhere and neaten that up. So if we come back to this side of the house, this is the bit that sticks out. There's a doorway there, so there'll be steps coming up here going to the door, but this bit that sticks out has got the hinges on this side. If I open that up for you, can see the piano hinge. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember now. Who knows? Yes, I've started covering this part. I was just going to tear bits off here, but I've stopped for a moment. I've had a meeting with the lady that owns the house, and whilst talking about it and discussing what we're going to do, I've suggested, and we're going to go ahead with this, that with the hinge being here, then every time you want to open the house, this whole section comes out, and it splits up the room here basically. So there's a whole section in here on each side. So when you dress the house, you'd you couldn't have anything coming across here. You'd have to put bits here so that it all stays together when you open the house up. And I just thought that was a really bad design. And I thought to myself, there's no reason at all why this whole section could be glued to the front of the house so it's permanently fixed, and then just make the front bit there into the door. So you just open the door at the front here, and all this would stay together, which would mean all this flooring would all be one big piece of flooring, and this would be solid walls coming right out. I may not have explained that properly, I don't know. But anyway, that's what I thought, and my client is happy for me to go ahead with that. So, and also as she suggested, which I thought was a really good idea, instead of replacing the hinge there to put at the front here, obviously I'd have to cut the hinge to the right height and then stick it on. I could just fit in a couple of magnets top and bottom, and then you could just get hold of this piece and just pull it away, leaving the rest of the building attached as one piece. And then the lady can decorate the floors and the rooms how she wants then. So what I have noticed, which is going to be a bit more work, but that's just par for the course, as they say, when you line the door up here where the hinge should be, as it comes across this end, as you can see, this wall isn't in line with the walls inside the house. So as I move that down, the wall in the house is that distance from one wall to the other, but this is slightly bigger, slightly wider. So I have started already putting paper on the front here, but I'm going to leave that as it is just now, and I'm going to take one of these side walls off, and I'm just going to unattach it basically, so I can pull the whole thing off. Then I'll have to cut these flooring bits down here. I'm going to have to cut those and then reattach the wall so that eventually, hopefully, it lines up with the front of the house, and then I can glue the whole building onto the front of the house, and that'll be nice and neat. I don't know why this wall doesn't match up with this, but when you put the other wall on the hinges at this side and bring it across, if you do that, then it leaves a gap there, and the room isn't closed in at all. So as you can see, it's sticking out now, the side of the building. So that as well, I think, is a bad design anyway. I don't know why it was doing that. But anyway, so I'll get on with that. I'm going to pull this apart. I'm going to recut each of the floors and the ground floor, and then I'm going to stick this back on, then cover it over with the foam board. And then cut it off here as well, right down the front on both sides. So this whole section is going to be away from the front. So I'll get that done, and then we'll see what it looks like. I won't film doing it because it's going to be a lot of saw noises. I'm going to have the electric saw on and different tools for cutting different angles and things. So I'll just get that on, and I'll show you part way through how I'm attaching it. Right, now while I'm waiting on pieces of wood to dry, I'll show you what I'm doing, or how I've gone about the front of the house in a minute. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for wood to dry, I want to cut some dowel posts. These are just very long skewers. I don't know, about 3 foot long. And I bought a whole pack of those extremely cheaply in a shop in Chicago while we were on vacation a couple of years or so ago. And I just knew they would come in handy at some point. So they're just the right thickness to use as dowels to put into bits of wood, to join bits of wood together. So I want them about 3 centimeters long. So I've measured them, used the ruler, measured them 3 centimeters. And now I'm just using the mitre block and a little saw. There's the saw. And as you can see, I've just put a block of wood there at one end and clipped it on with these clips just to give a length. So I've measured it up to the 3 centimeters. If I push that along like so, so that's there. So I can't do it with the camera because I'm holding the camera, but all I'm going to do is saw that line there, and then take that bit of wood out the way, and then push this forward again and cut. So it just gives you the same length, and I'll get several pieces all the same length. So it's just a quick and easy way to cut pieces of wood the same length. Okay, there we are. That just took a couple of minutes just to saw it, take the bit of wood away, move it forward, saw it, and just carry on like that. So now I've got, I think, enough here for the 2 long sides, and then I've got 3 lots for the 3 floors to go in, and it's maybe a little bit excessive. I might have been able to put 3 in each one, but while I'm doing it I might as well do it properly. So I'm going to these are the floor levels that I've cut off, and to go back into the body of the house, they're going to go half into the floor, the shelf itself, and then half into the main floor. Plus I'll glue all along the whole piece of wood as well, so that will really keep these pieces secure. This method, it's been done for donkey's years. Very old method, but very effective to glue 2 bits of flat wood together with nothing else to hold them. It's a lot of the DIY flat pack places for all the donkey's years it's been going right up till now. IKEA do a lot of furniture like this, and they've got the little pegs in each hole, and they just slot in to the pieces of furniture. It's a quick and easy way to put a piece of furniture together, but this in the end will be very, very firm and secure by the time I'm finished. Okay, now before I carry on and put this together, I just wanted to show you it in this stage, or this state. I've taken this one out at the moment, that will slot in there. So what I did was to put all these bits of wood together at the front, push them all together solidly, push them against the house and line them up exactly where I wanted them to be. And then, I mean, they're not in the right position right now, they need moving, but then I got let me show you down here. I just got a set square to make sure it was straight across the front here, and I drew short lines going across from the floor into the building. Just, it doesn't matter what distance apart. I want to put 4 pegs in, so I just did them sort of equidistant apart. It doesn't, as long as they're evenly spaced, it's just for the support really. And then these the dowels for this structure. I've sort of thought that I would need about 3 centimeter doweling, so 1.5 centimeters goes in each side from the floor and into the body of the house, so they'll be inside the wood like so. And I'll take this one out. So to do that, when I've marked these, I know exactly where the dowels are going to go, so I will get the set square and measure across the tops there, and then measure the middle, so I've got the middle point, and then I will put each piece in a vise and drill straight down, and to get the right depth, like I said, I wanted it 1.5 centimeters or 1.5 centimeters into the shelf and the body of the house. So I'll just get the drill bit that's the same size as the doweling, and I'll put a bit of masking tape around the drill, so it's exactly 1.5 centimeters down from the drill. In fact, probably just a tiny bit extra won't hurt, but it will just mean that it will just fit in nice and snug, both in these pieces and in the body of the house. I'll put all these pieces on the outside. I'll put in a vise. It will be the easiest way to hold them while I drill straight down. And the body of the house, that's solid anyway, so I'll just turn it on its back so I can work down from the top and just put the drill in square and drill the holes that way. But what I wanted to show you as well, as I said previously, the width of this was too wide, so it needs, I'd worked out that it needs making more narrow. And I then ended up with a couple of ideas of obviously pushing this up against the outside of the house, so it made this one too long. And to bring it in, I was either going to cut pieces off the end of the wood and then bring the flooring in, or cut a piece out of the middle of the front of the house. If I hold that up, see, the inside of the house has this shape all along down each side, which fits in to the front. So if I just cut the house down on the side there, then I haven't got a routing tool that I can remake this shape. So I was trying to work out the best way to do this, and 10 times out of 10 I eventually say to John Boy, if he's around, I call him in, show him what I'm showing you guys, and we start discussing different ways of making this a different size, different shape. And then, as I said, it really helps if you're talking to somebody or asking somebody else questions, because sometimes you just have something set in your mind. Like, I instantly thought that I had to bring this side in to meet up with the walls. We even discussed cutting the walls out all the way down and moving them out to meet this. But that would have been a lot of work trying to move all this and re-glue it again. Plus they're all in grooves at the back of the wall, so that would all need filling in. So it was a whole thing going on there. And suddenly John Boy, in his wisdom, thought to himself, and then he said, why don't you just add another sheet of wood, another piece of MDF on the outside of the house? And I measured how far this was coming out, and as you can sort of more or less see, this will fit exactly at the front of the house now, because it's just moved out from the inside of the wall there. So basically it makes the whole thing flat, and I flat with that side as well, and then I don't have to do anything extra with that. I can add a tiny bit of wood on the front there, on the sides there, just to keep it all smooth on the inside, which I probably will do that, or make some kind of feature out of it. But I think that is the absolute best way to do it. So I went and bought another couple of sheets of MDF, cut them to the exact size and glued them on, and then I can glue the foam board on top of the whole thing once it's all glued together. Job done. Right, I'm doing this indoors. I don't normally do any sanding or drilling indoors, so I'll just have to sweep up after I've finished. But Nigel is sunbathing on the workbench, the small portable workbench outside the workshop, where I would normally have clamped this on, and I wasn't going to clamp it on and start drilling while he's lying trying to sleep. He obviously has pride of place, but just to show you quickly, oh, it's heavy, pick that up. I've measured 1.5 centimeters, just a fraction over, put masking tape on there, and then I've just draw lines across here, and I've just just put the point of the drill in the center and drilled straight down till I got to the masking tape, and then just carefully lifted it out again. Oh, and here's the, I just realised I've put a dowel in over here, and then that fits in, and I can just screw that in slightly, and it goes in very, very well. I will put a drop of Gorilla Wood glue on there before I put them in, and then I'll glue all along here and on these before I fit them into the house. But that's what I'm going to do to that. So it'll take a little while to do, but I'll just get on with that today. Make another cup of tea because John Boy is out visiting family. So I shall bring that down to the workshop and carry on in my own little miniature world. The place I love best. So all the front sections now are completely dry. So this is the sides are all covered. The fronts are covered, and the other side is covered. And the front bit here is now the door, which I will fit magnets in to the body of the house, and you will just lift it off. And as you can see on the inside there's the extra layer of foam board and the MDF to make these walls flush right throughout the building. And then that will all be, obviously, flooring and walls will be covered up with the decoration. But that will be much easier now. The house has a solid piece like that, and literally just this door to take off, and of course the hinged door at the other side, which is just a flat panel open out. And I've covered that panel as well. So let's get working on the outside. How exciting! Okay, now I've turned the side of the house round so you can see the bigger surface, because the opposite side of the house is only this wide. So I just want you to see where I've just joined bits of foam board together. If you're going to do this yourself and you haven't done it before, just a little word of advice. I've been using this bit, just cutting it up into small pieces to glue in other areas. But if you get a big sheet of this, the paper on both sides, it's got, as you know, it's got paper on both sides, that keeps the card flat. It's an even distribution of tension on each side. So if you haven't stuck this to anything and you peel the paper off on one side, which I have on this side, as you can see, the card bows in the middle, or bends. And if I had done this to these whole sheets, the whole card would have bent like that. And then I'm not gluing the foam side to the house, so it's pressed in against the bend. I'm still gluing the papered side to the house, so it wouldn't be pressed against the house. Although I turn the house over and put weight on it, it still doesn't help, because the paper itself wants to curl away at the edges. So stick everything on first and then peel the paper off, which is what I'm about to do. So if you just grab a corner and dig your nail in, or any kind of tool that you can use, and hopefully when I get this, it might come off in pieces, but that doesn't matter. It could come off in one sheet. I've no idea, because I haven't done this yet. Oh, and it's coming off in one sheet. There we are. There's a tiny corner left there. I'll get that off. That's fine. And it doesn't matter if you dig your nail into it and mark it, it doesn't matter. That's the whole purpose of me putting this on in the first place. So again, if I just grab these, oh, it's coming off really easy. I was expecting it to come off in little strips, but there you go. I should have been thinking, I should always think glass half full. There we are. And this one, sorry if this is a bit noisy on the speaker, on the microphone. It is quite a loud noise. There, we don't want that. So, okay, so now we see the foam side. As you can, hopefully you can see on the camera here, there's gaps, obvious gaps where I've Frankensteined it together. Okay, now I've moved the house around because it was up against the work surface there, facing the camera, which is usually on this machine here, or this holster here, and I was too close to the camera for me to use my left hand to paint for you. So I've moved the house around this side and I've taken the camera off. As I said, well, when I say paint, I'm going to seal it with some matte Mod Podge. And it's watered down, so I've mixed up some in here and watered it down, so it's quite not that thick and gloopy really. It's more runny, more watery than glue-like. And then I've moved the house over the edge of my electric table, just in case it starts running when I get near the bottom. And there we are, see it's running here. It doesn't matter if it does it on the foam, but when it gets to the bottom of the house, if it runs, I don't really want it on my table because it's just very sticky and messy. Oops. So anyway, so as you can see, that's basically what I'm doing here. I'm just sealing the foam. Just work it in, it doesn't matter which way you do it, and I can actually see the difference between the Mod Podge mixture and the bare foam board, so you can see where your brush marks go, and you can see if you filled it in or covered it correctly. But you could go over it a couple of times. I don't know with this foam yet if I rub it a lot, if it starts peeling up at all. I'm not sure. But what we want is texture on this anyway. And I'm going to cover it over with something else, and then I'm going to colour it on top of that. So I shall carry on and do this, because I could just do this bit off camera much quicker. So let's get that done, and then I'll show you what the plan is next. Okay, now as you can see, I've started marking the foam. It's quite impressionable, so you can make different marks on it. So what I've done here is we're going to have, the building will have a like a stucco, like an old stucco paint on it eventually, and it will be a certain colour, and then I'm going to shade the colours as well to give light and dark texture, just to add age to the entire outside of the building. But where the stucco has fallen off the building and just cracked away, I'm going to do these the bricks underneath, which is the original brickwork basically. And I'm using you can use a pencil. I've got my automatic pencil there with a sharp nib. You can use that. Sharpened pencils are really good. Also an awl as well. You can use that because it's a nice sharp point. But what I did first of all was to outline the shape of the stucco, where the stucco has fallen away from the wall. And then actually I can use the end of the tweezers here. You just need a flat shape. You can use that. I've got here, the edge of a metal ruler there. Anything like that you want, and then just go along the edge. It's difficult doing this with one hand, but and holding the camera, and just push in. I've done that already, but just sort of push in where the stucco has fallen away from the, sorry, I'm going off, watching what I'm doing outside the camera, and trying to keep the camera in view as well. So I'm just pressing that in and just making a nice indentation, so the brickwork looks like it's behind the stucco that's peeled off the wall. And as you can see, I've been doing the brickwork. This house was made with old boulders, stone boulders. Some of them are very small bits, some are quite big, large chunks. And I mean, you can work from a reference photo if you have such a thing. But I like to, at the moment, I'm quite enjoying putting these bits in myself. So we've got a row of small bricks there, stone, and then slightly larger outlines like that. And any bits of foam that sort of break away, that's all right, because you're just adding, you can poke bits away like that. So bits of the stone bits of the brickwork have actually fallen in there, and just pull that away. Just make it really textured. The more textured the better, because it's meant to look as old as possible. So there we are. So I can just carry on and fill this bit here so you can see all the stonework. And then I'll just do that. I'll just choose areas. This is the back of the house at the side. Maybe where it's situated in the owner's home, you may not see at the side so much. You may or you may not. But I'll just put a few pieces, a few elements of stucco that's fallen away, and then a bit more on the front and around the other side, especially under things like windows. If I hold this up, which is the front panel of the house, like underneath the windows here, I'll sort of draw bits where it's fallen off here, maybe around one side, and just that's just a rough pattern, just like that, and then I can refine it, go over it with a tool here. At the moment it just looks like a line drawn in flat plaster, but once you start pressing into it where you've made the marks, it starts giving it its three-dimensional look, and it starts bringing the whole thing to life. I can't do it on this loose board. I'll have to lay this flat on a desk to do it properly, but that's roughly well, not roughly, that's exactly what I'm doing, although I am making it look very rough because it's natural. So I'll carry on with that and get as much of that done before the end of the video. Now I've got a just a rock from the garden, just a rough stone. It's actually an old lump of concrete, but it's very bumpy and textured. So I've just rolled that over the bricks, stones, because they're not going to be, after all these years, they're not going to be smooth as they were when they were first built. So I'm just denting it all over. First of all, I've gone over it with just a thin wash of the first colour of the bricks that I'm going to do, and then I'm just mixing colours together, and I'll just build up colours as I go along. So just pushing that on, and I'll just do it gradually. Sometimes you can do a bit of solid painting, then you can do a bit of dry brushing to make it slightly fainter in between, and then sort of solid bits, but just build it up as you go along, basically. I'm going to use some water there. I'm going to put in some very dark bits. Then at the end you can dry brush the whole thing over the top with a white or an off-white. I'll just add little colours here and there. But it is it's meant to be, when it's finished, it's meant to look very organic looking, because that's what the old stonework would be like. It wouldn't be so brand new looking, basically. So I will just carry on mixing these in, watering colours down to make them fainter again. And then if you touch the edge of the stucco, it doesn't matter, because we're going to go over that anyway. So just go along and just build it up gradually and enjoy the journey. I've got a tiny bit of white there mixed into the brush. Just making another shade again. So the stones would be very organic in colour, and then whilst some of it is still damp as you're building it up, you can just get a piece of tissue and just dab it. Like so. Quite a lot come off there, and just keep going over it until you've got the effect that you want. I'll do that. There's a bit here broken off as well. I'll do that here, and then I can put the stucco on the walls, which will be a different, it will be a top coat, a colour that the house was originally painted when it had been put over the bricks. So I'll carry on doing that, and then show you as much as possible before I finish the video. Okay, so here we have the original sort of dark weathered sandstone blocks with bits of soot or dirt here and there. It looks very dramatic at the moment, but that's because it's on against a white foam base. But I'm about to change that, and here we have a little Nigel boy, just ignoring the filming completely. He's busy looking outside. As you can see, it's getting dark out there now, getting a bit dusk, but that's where we are so far. Okay, and now For the main body of the house, first of all, we're going to put the stucco on, the old plaster. It's very rough, it's worn over years, it's not brand new, it hasn't just been built. For this, I'm using a no-nonsense lightweight polyfiller. There's all different makes out there, wherever you are around the world. This is a litre container. If you compare this to a litre container it's not called lightweight filler, it's just called filler, then it's extremely heavy. It really is a heavy pot compared to this, but this feels very, very light. When I first bought it, and you can squeeze it as well, when I first bought it I wondered what was in there, because it is so light. But when you take the plastic off, if I show you, you can see it's not even around the edges of the tub, because it's so lightweight and foamy. It's just been put in there, but it's not actually against the walls of the tub at all. And when I scoop it up, it's very sort of chalky, and it drops in bits very easily. It's not a thick paste at all. But I think this is going to be, as I say, this is the first time I've done this, but I'm going to take my time, and of course bits are going to drop off, but I'm going to put this on in thick and thin layers, and I'm just going to do it roughly, first of all, and put it on very thin. But as you can see, as I guessed, the filler is going straight over the joins. I don't know if you can see it properly from the distance. I've got this on my workbench for you, to try and film this without holding the camera at the same time. I'm just going to go around the edge there very carefully. As I go around the edge there and then let it dry, I can clean that up. The paint also will blend in. I think it's going to look fantastic. But I shall just gradually go over that. It's so light and fluffy. It's unbelievable stuff, really. There won't be too many big like that. Obviously, not too many big bits sticking out, because that's out of scale. That's just to put it on the wall to start with before I smooth it out. And not using huge brush strokes. Obviously it will take a while, but it has to be done in very small bits. After it's dry, you can sand it. It's paintable within 30 minutes, but you can actually sand it as well. So I shall roughly go over it with a light sandpaper, just to smooth the really rough bits off, and then we shall paint it. And when I put the when I do something, I'm going to do something to the roof, but I can just join all that together once it's built. I'm quite excited about all the different things we're going to do to this Italian hillside villa. But as you can see, it all takes a long time. Hence sorry, but the videos won't be coming on really quickly for this house. It is going to take time to do it, but it will be, hopefully, when it's finished, it will be worth it, worth the wait. There we are. And then when that's dry, I can go round that edge as well. Hopefully I can break bits off once it's hard as well, and that will give the effect of cracked stucco, which will be excellent, which is exactly what we're looking for. I went over it a bit too much. Well, I've wiped that off with my fingers, but you can obviously paint over the stones, and it does go all over your jeans or whatever you're wearing. Whoops. Let's hope I never have to do any plastering in the house, because unless we want a natural look, it's not going to be very smooth. Although I would be using a bigger tool, wouldn't I? Who knows? I can hear you. Who cares? So anyway, what I'm going to do is I will end this video here. I'm not going to carry on because I don't know how long I've been filming, so I don't know how long the video is going to be until it's uploaded. But I'm going to carry on doing this, and in the part 2 I will paint the sides and then move into the inside of the house. Hurrah! And we'll be starting on the ground floor, which we've already got plans for, so that's going to be so exciting. I can't wait. Again, I'm going to be doing different things in that room that we haven't done in other rooms, because this is the design that the lady wants, and what the lady wants, the lady shall get. Okay. Okay, I'll just show you up close. Okay, it's going to be quite a different effect from the stones. They're looking really good already. But like I say, I will let this dry first of all, and then I'll sand it to take off all these extra rough bits, because it has to be quite a bit smoother, but I don't want it a perfectly smooth finish, because that would be too new looking. But as you can see, it's joining up, covering over the joins in the foam, so you won't see any of that when it's finished. And then when we've coloured it as well, it's going to look superb. So what do you think, Nidge? Oh, he's having a bath. He's just had his tea, so he's quite happy. Okay, my lovelies, so thank you so much for watching. Whoever has watched, thank you. I hope you enjoy what I'm doing at the moment. I can't wait to carry on with it. So it's getting late now in the day, so I'll upload this video this evening, and I shall carry on tomorrow morning straight after breakfast. But yes, it's going to look, hopefully it's going to look really, really good when it's completed. So thank you so much, as I said, for watching, and we'll speak to you again soon. Take care everyone, and look after yourselves. Bye.